Manchester United 3, Leicester 0. The start of a fantastically big week for Man United has gone completely to plan. A horrible first half. One of the most dominant second halves we've seen all season, where we could have scored 7 or 8 goals, let alone 3. But it's made for a comfortable victory in the end, hasn't it? I'm joined by Joe McGrath. I'm joined by Scotty as well. How are you doing, lads? Are you okay?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, great that one.
Yeah,
nice 3-0 at Old Trafford always works.
Yeah, give me your thoughts on that game, because it was a bit of a, I hate the term, tale of two halves or whatever it is, match of two halves, but the first half, first 25 minutes in particular, that game looked like it could have been 3-0 the other way, let alone, United cruising to a victory.
So it started off with a bit of back and forth in the early moments, and Leicester taking full control, didn't they? They looked like they were up for it, and we did well to keep them out, because 1-0 Leicester is difficult. But, David De Gea makes some great saves. We just looked like we couldn't get a pass correct, or even get the ball out. It just looked a bit all over the place. Fortunately for us, Marcus Rashford steps up. That first goal in the first half breaks their momentum, and then we comfortably get into half-time. After half-time, Ten Hag must have...
It looked like he gave him a rollicking, didn't it?
Yeah. And next thing you know, we're coming out all guns blazing. Rashford and Sancho make it 3-0. So I'm very happy. Every single player stepped up and was brilliant in the second half.
Yeah, I think considering the start and at the end of it, most of us were disappointed that we didn't score maybe 4 or 5 or beyond. I mean, if Weghorst is a striker, we should be scoring at least one of the chances that he got today. But there were some standout performances. If we look at the first half, first 25 minutes, as Joe said there, De Gea kept us into the game and deserves applaudits for that. There was far too many sloppy passes. It was evident that we were missing sort of Casemiro's presence in the first half. We got fortunate with Brighton's defence running out to leave Marcus on, but he took his goal excellent. Second half, completely different Manchester United team. The introduction of Sancho was great. It's ahead of Garnacho. His goal was well deserved, and a special shout out to Fernandes as well, who seemed to be involved in a hell of a lot today, I thought.
Well, Bruno Fernandes today, just going through some of the numbers, so he had the most attacking third passes of anyone on the pitch. He had the most crosses of anyone on the pitch. He had more than double the next highest chances created with 9. The next highest was Fred with 4, Sancho with 3. Just most take-ons of anyone on the pitch as well. 4 or 5 take-ons successful. The second most ball recoveries. Only Sabitzer had more ball recoveries for United. I think when he's on his form like this, Bruno Fernandes 2 assists as well. It was just a phenomenal game from him. Got fouled more than anyone as well, so he's just involved constantly.
I always think that when Bruno has a great game, United... I've never seen a game where Bruno's been wonderful, but we've not won.
No.
Because I always feel like he dictates how well United are. And if he has a good game, everyone steps up. And sometimes it works the other way. When he's a bit shit, he can go missing. United, unfortunately, get a draw.
That's what I was worried about in the first 20 minutes, because you didn't really see much of him. And I know a lot of the press and pundits credit the De Bruyne-Haaland relationship, and I think we should be doing exactly the same for Fernandes and Rashford, because them two are so in sync with each other, and today was just evidence of that.
Yeah, definitely. And also as well, give credit to getting a clean sheet. Like you said, you give credit to David De Gea before. The little Lindelof and Martinez pairing at the back did all right. Martinez just looking comfortable as anything.
Martinez, great as always.
And credit to Luke Shaw, by the way, who, he's playing different roles at the minute, depending on who's injured or not, but he's doing fucking really well.
Yeah. He's doing brilliantly. I just want to, I know not everyone's a big fan of XG, but just as a sort of base level to look at how well a team attacked and created chances for themselves. Leicester's XG was 1.5, which is unlucky to not score a goal there, and they should have scored. United's was 4.16, which is as high as I've seen in the Premier League this season.
That's just
I mean, but Weghorst obviously didn't score, missed a few really good chances, just has got that, I don't want to say issue because that's a bit unfair, but there's something going on with him, isn't there, in front of goal at the minute? He just can't get it together.
It's strange.
He had some really great chances as well, didn't he?
It's strange because if you think with the pressure of coming to a club like Manchester United, obviously I don't think we ever expected this move, and you look at his goal scoring stats in the Bundesliga are really impressive. Yeah. But some of the chances he had today just seemed like anybody should be making them. But I don't think it tells the whole picture about his performance, because outside of the 18-yard box, he was really industrious in breaking up play and linking up play as well. And I think he drags defenders out, which allows Marcus Rashford to run him behind. So there is that going for him. So, but I mean, if we had an XG of, what do you say, 4.16,
4.1.
Yeah. And then you look at the Martinez shot that hit the bar with a header, and then Delo should have scored as well if he uses his other foot. So the chances were there, not just with Weghorst, all across the pitch, really.
But just on Weghorst then, and I think weirdly, I thought he had a good game today. I don't think
strange for a
should have
striker.
scored
So many
2 or
chances
3.
and scored,
But
Had a good game.
Just a few of his stats. So his defensive aerial duels, which is something that he's not necessarily expected to get involved in. But he only Dalot and Lindelof had more than him in the whole game. Also in terms of his tackles, no one had more tackles than him today. 4 tackles as well. So he's just that kind of player, attacking aerial duels more than anyone today on the whole pitch. So it's that kind of performance from him, isn't it? And I think if we look at shots, he had 6 shots today, 1 on target, no goals. And that should have been much more than that. But I thought he had a performance that helped Manchester United win the game today. Even though it wasn't prolific himself, he wasn't scoring the goals, I think he was a net positive to Manchester United's chances of winning. Like the way he dragged the man out of the way for Sancho to have space for the third goal, I thought made United more dangerous. Just on Marcus Rashford, because it's impossible not to talk about him at the minute. 24 goals now this season. Started the day on his equal greatest goal-scoring season as a professional. He's now beaten that by 2 already. We're halfway or just past halfway through February. He's looking at a 30-goal season here, hasn't he? I think it's 27 in all competitions if you include the World Cup. Yeah. Barring some big injury, this is going to be by far the biggest goal-scoring season of his life.
So 27 in all competitions. There's nothing stopping him getting 13 more if we carry on.
Yeah, because that's including England in the World Cup. So it's 24 for United.
24 for United, and we've got Europa League games.
Yeah.
We hopefully continue in the FA Cup. We've got a final to play at. And how many more? Was it 16? No, how many games have we got left in the Premier League? 14?
14 more now.
14 more games. You could be looking at Marcus Rashford nearly tipping that 40 goal mark.
Insane,
That's
isn't
incredible, isn't
That
it?
is incredible. I mean, obviously...
It's not beyond him, though.
No, it's not beyond him.
That's the thing, isn't it?
He's got to get, with 24, he's got to get 16 more goals in as many games till May. And, he's performing and he's looking great.
He looks like he's really enjoying it as well. That's
the
definite difference this time last year. But sensational. I'm trying to think of a better striker at Manchester United since. I think,
we're looking at Ronaldo numbers here, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We've got Ronaldo, Rude, and I think Rashford's now stepped up from being a player of promise to fulfilling his potential. I say this week in, week out, and I could fully see him getting 40 goals. I think he'll get his 30th or his 28th, 29th, 30th. But by the Carabao Cup final on Sunday when we lift it.
We've got a few super chats. Matt Novcic says, just think when we can put our full team together, can't wait to see Casemiro and Sabitzer in the midfield together. Do you know what? I didn't think I'd be saying this, but Scott McTominay looked excellent today. And I thought the timing of that substitution, things were just starting to get a bit scrappy, a bit overrun in the midfield. I think it was 2-0 at the time. He just came in, composed, using his physicality well. I thought he played really well.
Well, the problem with our midfield, and last season it was a real big problem, but now, you've got the likes of Sabitzer. Fred can play well with Casemiro. Casemiro's now done, his ban is done.
Yeah.
Ericsson will come back in a couple of weeks and he'll have McTominay as well to play with. You've got about 5 decent midfielders there.
Yeah.
And Bruno, I know, is in a different chart. But in those games when we need more and more squad depth, when we get really into the last moments of the season, it's good to know that we've got about 5 great midfielders ready to pick.
Jay Frasconi says, granted he's not finishing, but I'd imagine that the opposing players seeing the 6'4" monster Weghorst running all over the pitch after them for 90 minutes, and they probably think this really sucks. I think that's what I'm saying before. I think he makes it difficult for United to play against. His tracking, his tackling, his pressure.
Yeah, he works hard all the way to the end.
It's sad, really, and I know obviously this is the hardest thing, so just saying just add more goals is like saying just win more games. But I think if he could have been a little bit more clinical, if he was on 4 goals now for United, which isn't like asking too much of some of the chances he've had, you would be looking at this as like a really excellent sign. I thought he was brilliant against Barcelona again. He's not scoring the goals and he missed a big chance, which may cost us in the end, but he's making us a better team. He's making us harder to play against, I believe, than when he's not playing. Akash Solomon Says Sabitzer had a quiet stormer of a game, smart passes and ball retention, had some great passes to boot. Would love to see a Casemiro Sabitzer pairing. We might see that on Thursday.
Yeah.
Jerome says prime De Gea in the first half. It was, wasn't it? It was like
really
like
good De Gea.
Flashback to 2016 David De Gea. That just
And
competent.
the thing is, he's not getting
goalkeeper.
really a lot of plaudits, and it's because when he did get the plaudits, we needed him to save us so much.
Yeah.
But now we're winning games, so he kind of quietly goes and just does a job, gets a clean sheet, and he doesn't need the plaudits really. But
that was a good point. It's quite indicative of Manchester United at them years when De Gea used to get Player of the Year every season because our defence
four
was so
out of
bad.
5 years.
That just says everything, doesn't it?
Jibak says Vegos was mint today, one of our better players. Too bad he's a yard short of the others. Just doesn't get on the end of the final ball fast enough. Kaz Mofo says Sabitzer is crucial for us. Hopefully we can buy him in the summer. And Karen Took the Kids says Arthritis Haaland might not score goals, but he's still a problem. Onwards and upwards for Weghorst. Weghorst is now being called Arthritis Haaland, which is quite funny.
What was that guy's name?
Karen Took the Kids. Before we go then, let's talk a bit about Sancho, because coming back from his time off, I thought he wasn't involved as much as I would have liked against Barcelona, but I didn't think he had a bad game. I thought he came on, and him and Bruno in particular seemed to have this really good understanding straight away, didn't they? I thought it was a good performance from him.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it's great to see the goal, the 1-2, obviously, with Bruno for the goal. There was another opportunity where he sort of snatched at it, but he had the second chance, didn't he? And I think he should have a bit more composure, either passed it or definitely scored. But I don't think we're crying out for Sancho to be starting every single week. If it takes him getting 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, building towards the 90 minutes, then I'm happy for that to go on, as long as the sort of... We're already seeing fruit of what's happened, bearing fruit from the sort of rehab or whatever it was that was going away. So, as bit by bit, I don't think there's any point in rushing him back.
No, let's have a look at the Premier League table then. As we stand at the minute, Tottenham set to play in 15 minutes. You look there, Manchester United 3 points behind Manchester City on the same games played. That's not an optical illusion, or United have played 26 and they've played 24. Same games, 3 points off City.
Massive.
It cannot be argued that United are in a title race.
Well, if City
I'm happy to admit we are very much not favourites. We are the third favourite in that race. But if you're 3 points behind a team that is in a title race, you're in a title race whether you like it or not. Yeah. It's nice looking at that.
Look at the other way. If you're 3 points above someone in the relegation zone, you're fighting for relegation.
Great point.
So we are definitely in a title race.
I like that.
Which is wild to say, but bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on.
Bring it on.
Vikasin says Weghorst is not flashy, but enables others to shine. Unpopular, but he and Casemiro are the cement between the stones. I think that's a great place to wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you check out the Scotty and Marty podcast with Jay and Scotty. Make sure you check out the Sloppy Joes podcast with me and Joe. Subscribe to both of those. Manchester United 3-0, starting this absolute week of death with 3 goals and a clean sheet.
Week of glory, Joe.
Week of glory, as I like to call it. Thank you very much for joining us. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and hit like as well. We're trying to get to 2,000 likes on the video, so hit that like button, and we'll see you in a bit.